Hello, my name is Nina. Welcome to my channel. Last week I uploaded a video about why I think hobbies are so important. And one of the things I mentioned is that hobbies can help you to not be on your phone as much, which is something that I have been working towards. I've just been trying to spend less time on my phone. And I thought it would be interesting in this video to show you a couple of things that you can do instead of doom scrolling, and things you can maybe do when you catch yourself doom scrolling. When you're like, oh, I'm currently on my phone and I don't know what to do instead of being on my phone, but I kind of don't want to be on my phone. So in this video, I'm going to give you a couple of examples of things that I do when I feel like that. And there's obviously like 4,000 other things that you could do, but there is 4 examples in this video. So let's get started. I just finished the work that I had to do a little while ago, and ever since then I have just been scrolling on my phone, watching TikToks. And since this video is to specifically avoid that, I wanted to do a reading sprint. I am in the middle of a couple of different books, so I think that I will just sit down, I'm gonna grab myself a snack and set a timer for 1 hour and just read for 1 hour. Obviously I read a lot, but sometimes when I am already in like the scrolling mindset, it can be hard to put my phone away, grab my book and keep reading my book, because sometimes after 5 minutes I put my book away and then I end up on my phone again. So I think setting this timer will maybe help. All right, I have a little snack, I have a bottle of water, and I am going to set a 1 hour timer on my iPad. I have put my phone on Do Not Disturb and I'm going to read Funny Story by Emily Henry because I am currently on page 122 and I haven't read this in like a few weeks. Like I just started it and then never finished it. So let's see how far I get in 1 hour. Alright, it has been a little bit over an hour. I paused the timer once to talk to my boyfriend because he came in and I didn't want to talk to him while the timer was running. So I did read for an hour in total. I just had one small little break and I had so much fun. I started at page 122 and I am now at 168. So that means I read 46 pages. But more importantly, I spent an hour not being on my phone and actually having a lot of fun. I feel like this is a book where I just need to keep myself reading, because once I am reading, I am very much enjoying it, but every time I put it away, I just kind of forget about it. So that's why it's taking me so long, because every time I think, oh, I'm going to read, then I grab a different book. But it is a very fun book to read, so it's not, I don't know, I just need to force myself to read it more. And I can't remember the last time where I spent a full hour reading without looking at my phone in between. So I think that is a very good thing. So this is your sign, if you need it, to just put everything away, set a timer for an hour, 30 minutes, whatever works for you, and just sit down and read. One of my favorite things to do if I have a free night and I don't want to spend it all on my phone is to bake something. In a recent video I made cinnamon rolls with this new cinnamon roll dough kit because I couldn't find my old one, but then when I was doing groceries this week I found like my favorite kit back, so I wanted to make cinnamon rolls again because these are just the best cinnamon rolls there are. These are apple cinnamon rolls, and there's this little jar of like the inside, and this stuff is so good. But also this dough is very good, so this is like the easiest but best way to make cinnamon rolls. And I also got some cream cheese to make some cream cheese frosting, so this is a perfect activity, and I will get incredible cinnamon rolls to eat after, and also my house will smell amazing. So those things are just the best combination. Nikki, are you being so helpful?
Mm-hmm. I will put you in my what is like what you write at the end of the book to thank people and cats. The thank you word. This has a name. Right?
That has a name. Oh, I don't know.
It's not the dedication because that's on the front.
Yeah. It's like the...
Do you know?
Wait, I'm looking it up.
The thank you word.
The thank you word.
No, that's not.
Acknowledgements.
I will put you in the acknowledgements.
This book wouldn't have existed without little Sneaky. Alright. Do you want to tell my vlog about why you write? That's a big question. But
wait, but this is like, she asked me, do you want to talk a little bit in my vlog about why you write? And I just thought to myself, oh, like, why I'm writing this right now.
Oh, no.
And now you're posing this as like, no, why do you write at all? It's like
all.
such a big...
I know, but I mean like, no, this video is about like doing things that aren't online, and I thought it might be nice to give a little bit of, explain a little bit to people who may never write and see this and think, why the fuck should I do that? Because, you know, I'm not gonna publish a book, I'm not gonna write something phenomenal. Like, why is it good for, in our opinion?
I think this is gonna sound really, really dramatic, potentially, and I'm sorry if it does. But for me, there's not really a way to not write.
That's exactly how I feel.
It's very present to who I am as a whole. And without it, I don't feel like I would be me. And I know that is so dramatic and like maybe a little bit preposterous, and I'm so sorry if it is, but this is genuinely the way I feel.
I agree.
And I could never not write. Like as a child, I spent hours typing away on like my parents' home computer, and it was very prevalent to like me as a human being, and it still is. I think aside from all of that, I can imagine not everybody feels this way. Like it's a way to process things you might not have even realized you were feeling and that were taking up space within you.
Yeah.
I often notice when I am writing that there's things that come to the surface that I hadn't even realized were still sort of brewing within me. And I think it's just a lovely way to process those feelings.
No, I think I agree. And I also think that once you kind of let go of the perfectionism that can come with writing and you try to just write because it can help you, you know, process things or feel your feelings or just like also remember things. I feel like if I write about like certain things that I did with friends or family, I remember them so much more, and it's just such a fun activity as well.
It's
like
fun. It can be so fun.
Yes.
And it's also a way, this is something my therapist taught me, that it's also a way to sort of rewire your brain. The human brain is so, this is maybe like a bit of pseudoscience, but the human brain is so trained like on danger and things we need to like improve and do better. You're very wired to focus on the negative things in life.
Yeah.
If you write about your positive experiences, your brain becomes like sort of learns to focus on that next to the other. And that's something I've really experienced.
Yeah, me too.
For me. And it can also, if it's not about your life, writing fiction can still be so fun.
Yes, it's such a fun feeling to like come up with something and like make a character or make a world.
There's no rules, it's all you. You can do anything.
It's so freeing as well. Like there's no, also no one has to read it. That's one thing that I really enjoy, is just writing something that I know nobody's gonna read.
Pressure.
And then it's just like, I can write the silliest things, but it's so fun.
I think maybe that's even like the best part sometimes, to write like, this is so like, you know, the little quote signs like, dance where like nobody's it's like so like right, like nobody's gonna read it.
Yes.
Like that's the exact feeling.
Yeah. And if you have no clue on to like what you should write about, I think there's so many prompts online. We are in a writing group that has this little gumball machine, and there's little pieces of paper in it that you can like spin, and then you can take out a piece of paper. Like writing exercises like that are still very fun, and it takes maybe a little bit less of like yourself. You can kind of use what is already out there.
And I also think it's like very basic advice if you want to start writing, but it's been very helpful to me, like write what you know. And that is so stupid, but it's like it's advice that's given a lot because it works. Because just like if you sit down and think about what are the things you know, what are the things that are close to you that you would really love somebody else to experience the way you've experienced them, and I think that's always a good starting point.
Yeah, but I think that in writing there's not like a good or bad way to write.
Not
also like things like fan fiction or songs or poetry or whatever you're writing, like it doesn't have to be a full-on like fantasy book. I know that a lot of writers want to start there. Like I definitely started writing with the idea like I was like 15 and I was like, I'm going to write a book.
Sarah J Maas was like 16 when she wrote Throne of Glass.
No way.
No, she was. She's just talking Dutch now. No, wait, I'm not sure like which one she started, but she was really young.
Really?
Wait, let me.
She, age 16. I had a girl in my writing group a couple of years back who published her first novel when she was like 10. And that just like, that just changed me as a writer, because I was like, I am now, I think I was 16, I was like, I haven't published a book, so I'm going to fail.
But I've really changed my stance on a lot of, as like a formerly gifted child.
So real! No, actually.
Because like, there's so much pressure on you to be so extremely special when you grow older if you're seen as like a gifted child. It's so weird to hear your entire youth long like, oh, you're so wise for your age, and you, oh, how could you even come up with that at this age, and can you imagine what she'll be like when she's older? And then you're older and you discover that so many people are much more talented than you are. And that sounds extremely self-centered.
No.
But I truly, deeply believe to my core, if I had had any huge success or breakthrough as a young child, I think it would have ruined me, in the sense that it is much more difficult to come back from a huge success in a way than it is from a failure. It depends on what you've experienced before, but in a way, I think it puts so much pressure on you to be even better.
But then also, taking it back to what we were talking about. No, it's okay. But I also think that in the opposite way, that as an adult, it can be so freeing to start something that you've never done before, because there's like no idea that you already can do it. Like if I do something that I used to do as a child, I have this sense of, oh, but I already spent like all of these years trying to do this, so I should be at a certain level. But if you start something new, you could just be shitty at it and it doesn't matter. Like for example, when I started pottery, that was something I'd never done before, so it was very easy for me to just think, well, I can't do this, so whatever I'm gonna make as the first few things are gonna turn out a little bit shitty. And there's a lot of things where, especially with writing, because a lot of people have done it in school, there's this feeling of, oh, I should be at a certain level, but you can just start at zero. Like I have so many writing pieces where there's like words that I've written incorrectly or sentences that don't make sense. Like that, it doesn't matter as long as you're enjoying the process of writing it.
There's such a view in our society of if you have a hobby or if you do something for fun, if it's not making you any money, you should at least be really, really good at it. Otherwise, why are you even doing it?
Yeah.
And it's just not true, because there's an art and a way of enjoying things in learning something and failing at something.
Yeah.
And being patient and discovering that there's new things that you could accomplish later on if you put time and effort into something.
Yeah.
And it's so silly that everything we do has to be useful.
Yes, exactly.
No, you can do things that are not useful to anybody at all.
Yeah.
But to your own enjoyment, or not even enjoyment right now, but maybe enjoyment in the future.
Yeah, or even maybe there's no improvement at all. Like, you can just be
so
shitty
bad.
at it forever.
I know, it's like so silly. Why do you have to become good at something that's your
Exactly.
hobby? If your hobby is drawing and you are so bad at it, who cares? If you want to paint and you're just really bad at painting,
I say this with crochet a lot because I crochet so much, but I always make squares. Like, I cannot make anything but squares, and I just attach those squares and I make these things and it looks very impressive.
Yeah.
But if you like actually are a crocheter,
to me it's so impressive. But like recently you told me like I only make squares, and I was like thinking, I was like, she does
yes,
make squares.
I am not that good at it, but I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
So like, who the fuck cares? But this is also something that I feel very strongly about, is that if you are good at something, people expect you to be good at every aspect of it. Like, if you are an illustrator, you have to be able to draw anything. And I'm like, you can also just have like a style, or
what
like,
if you just only draw mushrooms and like
and little
frogs?
pumpkins and like frogs and
Are we roasting my art style right now? Oh, okay.
Leora recently had to draw a man for the first time. It was a whole process.
No, I had a freelance job that required me drawing men. And it was traumatizing. And I think hobbies really suffer under capitalism. I know
Just
that's
like
so
people.
dramatic. Yeah, no, but I know that's so dramatic, but I think it's
so
true.
true. It's
Because
so
it
true.
forced us into thinking everything has to be efficient and useful and make us money.
Yeah.
Like, so often I learn something new that brings me enjoyment, and I'm like, how could I make money off of
Yeah.
this? And I know for me it's different because I've turned my hobby and passion into my job,
Yeah.
but still.
But I
it's
think
like
a lot of
little
people
bit
feel like
problematic.
this. Yeah, and I think in this culture where people can't make enough money off of one single job, there's a lot of pressure to, outside of your normal
Side
job,
hustle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like make money off of the things that you would do after work.
Yeah.
And that really makes it that a lot of hobbies are, not appreciated enough.
And another thing, I think capitalism is often forcing us into this idea that it is good to be entirely self-sufficient and to do like self-care on your own, and like individual woman, you can do it, but it's actually removing us from community, which
Yeah.
I think is one of the most important aspects of being a human, is finding community. And I think especially within hobbies, it is such a good spot for you to find some community and people around you. And it's like capitalism is taking that away from us, because it's like, no, if you have a free night, you should be on your own and do a face mask, hashtag self-care. And it's like, but what if you want to go to like have friends around you?
You are like touching on every single thing that I talked about in the video that I filmed this afternoon.
I'm sorry,
because
I'm passionate about this.
Yeah, me too. But that's why I made the video. I had this whole thing about how hobbies can allow you to create community in a different way and to find, people around you that actually love the things
Like-minded.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I gave us as an example because we met through writing, and now here we are.
We are so bestie.
All right, well, this turned into a little bit of a longer little rant than I anticipated, but
Sorry.
I think it's a good idea to, at some point, make like a full video of us just talking about a certain subject.
Comment down below if you think me and Nina should start a podcast.
Or maybe just like do on YouTube, sometimes do like a podcast style chat where we talk about things that we are very passionate about. I think that would be very fun. All right, well, thank you. The next thing I am going to show you is a very small little crochet tutorial that if you are an ultimate beginner at crochet, you can make this. This was one of the first things that I really made a lot of, and I love it because it's useful and it's cute. I am going to show you how to make one of these little pouches. I use these for everything. I use these to organize my bag. I use these to protect my things like my external hard drive or my AirPods. I made little pouches to put them in. But these are also great gifts if you have, for example, a gift card or some money that you're giving someone, but you want to spice it up a little bit. Making this little pouch and giving it in this little pouch can really add to the gift without it being more expensive. So these can be used in various ways and they are very easy to make. Now, I am not qualified to show you how to do certain stitches. So for this tutorial, you will need to know how to make a chain and how to do one stitch. Doesn't really matter which stitch. I used a double crochet, but you can do it in single, you can do it in half double, doesn't matter. But if you know how to make a chain and if you know any of those stitches, you can make this. And I'm going to show you how. All right, step one is to obviously choose your yarn and your matching crochet hook. I just had this still and I am using a 5mm crochet hook, because for some reason, every single project I do, I use my 5mm. I don't know, this is just my favorite. And it's obviously important before you begin to think about what you want to use this for. I would really recommend to think of a certain item that you will put in this, because then you can kind of guesstimate the size of the pouch that you want. I want to make a little pouch for in my bag that can hold a few like beauty related supplies that I always have in my bag. I want it to be able to fit tampons, lip balm, deodorant, stuff like that. So you are obviously going to start with a chain. Now, I don't measure this at all. Like, I just kind of look at the size and think, okay, would this be big enough? And you want to make sure that you have some space to make the top, because obviously with the pouch you want it to be cinched at the top, so you have to make it a little bit bigger than you think you'll need. I think I'm going to make it around this size, and I'm now going to double the chain because eventually you're going to make it like this. So make sure the length is good once you have it folded. All right, so I added a few chains and now it is about the size that I want it to be when I fold it. And now we are just going to make the width of it. This obviously also depends on the size that you want to make it, but you basically just make a rectangle. You can use whatever stitch you want for this. I prefer to do a double crochet, but you can do single crochet, you can do half double, whatever you prefer. You could even try to do like a cute stitch that will look fancy, but I just use a basic double crochet and I will just make it the width that I will need for my little pouch. All right, it is the next day and I finished my little rectangle. I think it took me about an hour, maybe an hour and a half to crochet this. So the next step is just very easily to slip stitch these two sides together so it creates a little pouch. The sides are stitched together and I just turned it inside out so it looks a little bit more neat. I'm going to cut off these extra little bits, and then the only thing I have left to do is to make a little chain so that I can cinch it at the top. And the way you attach this is very simple but a little bit tedious. So you start in the middle and you just insert your hook. I'm leaving a little bit of space on the top so it has this cute little ruffle on the top, and you just take your chain and you use your hook to kind of get it through the hole. So then you have the start here and then just a little bit further down you insert your hook again and you take the chain again and you kind of just weave it in and out of the little pouch. Be careful that you don't accidentally pull too hard and you completely pull it out, but you just kind of weave it in and out. The only thing that you really have to pay attention to is that you make sure that both sides end up in the front at around the same length, and then you just pull it and you have this super cute little pouch. this is the end of the video. Like I said in the beginning, there's obviously a bunch of different examples to think about when you want to do something else than doom scrolling. So if you're interested in seeing another one of these videos where I show you different examples, then please let me know, because I would love to film some more of these videos. I hope this video was useful for you in any way. If it was, you can give it a thumbs up. That will really help me. And you can subscribe down below if you want to. And I will hopefully see you again next week. Bye!